Hey there, Scott Shoemaker here. I am an estate planning attorney in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and I wanted to take a moment to draw a distinction between two different kinds of tax that oftentimes get confused when we're dealing with estates. Though on the one hand, we have estate tax, and on the other hand, we have inheritance tax. Now, in Iowa does not charge an estate tax. However, there is an inheritance tax. However, on the flip side of that coin, there is a federal estate tax. To make things even more confusing, the forms, the Iowa Department of Revenue and the IRS actually use the same number, Form 706, for the return for those two different types of tax. However, they tax different things and they're calculated differently. And this is very important. Most people in the United States right now don't really have to worry about estate tax. The current estate tax exemption is more than $11 million. And so if you have less than $11.5 or so million in estate tax or in assets at the time of your death, your estate is entirely exempt from estate tax. So this is a tax really only on the very wealthy. So most people don't have to pay. Now, inheritance tax is something completely different. It is not based on the total value of your assets, but it's instead based on the value of assets inherited by an individual. Now, the good news is most close relations are exempt from inheritance tax. So if you're leaving your assets to a spouse, or to children, even adopted children and stepchildren, grandchildren, those are all going to be exempt transfers, and there's no inheritance tax on those transfers. However, if you're leaving your assets even to fairly close relatives like brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews, and so on, or even more removed relationships like friends, then there is an inheritance tax. And the inheritance tax rate varies both on the value of the inheritance, so the amount of assets that you're leaving to an individual, and based on the degree of proximity to the closeness or distance of the relationship of that individual to you. So there are two different taxes, and it's possible that your estate might owe both. It's possible that your estate may owe one or the other, and it's also possible that your estate may owe none of them.